Welcome to the deep dive, where we really try to unpack complex ideas and, get to the heart of what matters.
Helping you cut through the noise.
Exactly. And today we're embarking on a really fascinating journey, I think. It's into the architecture of self. Have you ever felt that parts of you just sort of went missing?
hmm
That somewhere along the way, navigating life, pieces of your identity kind of splintered off, leaving you feeling, well, not quite whole.
Yeah, it's a pretty universal feeling, isn't it?
Uh,
And our mission today is to explore a really innovative podcast project called Mindset Matrix.
okay.
And specifically, we're diving into a pivotal episode they did called Fractured Selves.
Fractured Selves. Interesting title.
It is. We'll be digging into how experiences like, say, trauma can profoundly fragment our sense of self, and maybe even more importantly, how they frame the path to healing. It's not about reinvention, they argue.
Oh,
It's presented as this powerful process of retrieval, like remembering what was always inherently there. Retrieval, not reinvention. I like
yeah.
that. So tell me about Mindset Matrix. It's a project by Melvin Jason Ogbaloo under Luminary Discoveries.
That's right. And its aim is incredibly ambitious. They want to, and I'm quoting here, decode the inner architecture of thought, belief, and transformation.
Wow, okay, so big goals.
Huge. It's designed to guide you through these really intricate internal landscapes. And honestly, the way they do it is unlike anything I've encountered before.
How so? What makes it unique?
Well, that's where its unique architecture really comes into play. What sets Mindset Matrix apart and what truly gives it such a distinct kind of insight is its use of two AI hosts.
2 AI hosts.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yep. And it's not just a gimmick. It fundamentally changes how they explore these deep, complex themes. You've got Aura,
Aura.
who embodies this contemplative, philosophical, even spiritual tone. Her segments, they're not just informative, they invite this really profound, almost poetic kind of introspection.
Okay, so like the wisdom side.
Sort of, yeah. Her voice weaves through concepts with this sense of ancient wisdom and emotional depth. And the other AI host.
That's Lynx. And Lynx is the perfect counterpoint. Think analytical, cognitive science, systems thinking.
Ah, the logical brain.
Precisely. So where Aura might explore the feeling of being fragmented or the spiritual meaning behind loss, Lynx digs into the mechanics.
The mechanics.
I-
Like the biology.
Yeah, the neural pathways, the psychological processes, the systemic impact. It's honestly like listening to two distinct parts of your own mind having a conversation.
That's fascinating. So they complement each other.
Perfectly. They're designed to explore themes right at that intersection of, design, psychology, technology, spirituality,
Yeah.
all delivered with this really unique tone. It's somehow poetic, but also incredibly grounded.
Poetic yet grounded. I like that. So it's not just abstract philosophy or dry science.
Exactly. This dual approach makes sure the insights land both emotionally and intellectually. You feel it and you understand it.
So this episode, Fractured Cells, where does it fit in? Is it standalone?
Well, it's part of a larger series within the podcast, the Identity series. And the series itself is described as a journey into the architecture of identity, how it is shaped, fragmented, remembered, and reimagined.
Wow.
Yeah, it really drives home their core idea. Identity is not static. It is alive.
hmm
This dynamic view is absolutely central to their whole approach.
So Fractured Cells is episode 3. It zooms in on the fragmented part of that description.
Exactly. It nails down that specific aspect. And the episode's subtext alone is pretty gripping. Trauma, memory, and the splintering of identity over time.
Heavy stuff.
Definitely. But the central theme, which really echoes throughout, is how things like trauma, betrayal, chronic stress, how they fragment our sense of self. But crucially,
Yes.
how healing is a process of retrieval, not reinvention.
There's that retrieval idea again. It's powerful, isn't it? The thought that you're not trying to become someone new.
To remember someone who was always there.
Exactly.
It's a profound reframe.
Does Aura touch on this directly?
Oh, absolutely. It resonates strongly with this mantra Aura delivers in the series. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering someone ancient.
Remembering someone ancient. Wow. That sets such a hopeful tone, doesn't it?
It really does. It implies this inherent wholeness that just needs to be reaccessed. It shifts the whole perspective away from fixing something broken.
Towards rediscovering something that was just hidden for a while.
Precisely.
And how does the episode itself start? Does it just jump in?
It hooks you immediately with this introductory exchange. Lynx asks this really deep question. What parts of you went missing along the way?
Oof. Okay.
Right? And Aura responds with equal depth. When the self fractures, it leaves behind sacred fragments waiting to be retrieved.
Sacred fragments. That's a beautiful way to put it.
Isn't it? That exchange alone just perfectly sets up the journey. It invites you to see these missing pieces not as flaws, but as valuable parts waiting for reunion.
So it frames identity as this active, living thing impacted by what happens to us.
Exactly. And then the brilliance of having Aura and Lynx really shines as they tackle this complex topic from their unique angles.
Okay, let's dig into those two lenses then. First up, Aura's perspective. The segment is called The Shattered Mirror.
That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
And Aura, with that contemplative philosophical voice, she explores trauma not just as an isolated event,
Right.
but as this profound disruption of personal continuity. Like the self's timeline, its integrity has been shattered.
A shattered mirror. Makes sense.
Yeah, and she delves deep into this idea of lost selves.
Lost selves, like parts of yourself.
Exactly. Not just abstract ideas, but that very real feeling of losing connection to who you once were. Maybe your inner child, that joyful, unburdened part. Or other exile parts that we push away to cope.
Things we deny or suppress.
Right. And Aura emphasizes the sacred role of grief in restoring the self, positioning grief not as weakness, but as a vital process for reclaiming what was lost.
That's a different take on grief.
It is. She draws from mysticism, theology, Jungian depth psychology. It gives her insights, this really profound, soulful quality that goes beyond just standard psychology.
Okay, so that's Aura's deeply philosophical, almost spiritual take. What about Lynx? The segment is cognitive disruption.
Yep. And this is where the neurobiology comes in, which, like you said, is fascinating because it explains the mechanisms, the how behind these internal shifts.
Right, the science bit.
Exactly. Lynx, with that sharp analytical approach, gets into the nitty-gritty. They explain the amygdala hijack, for instance.
Okay, what's that?
It's essentially your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, going into overdrive during stress or trauma. It triggers fight, flight, freeze, bypassing rational thought, flooding you with stress hormones.
Okay, I've heard of that.
And then there's a hippocampal shutdown. The hippocampus is vital for forming clear, contextual memories. Under extreme stress, it can kind of shut down.
Which means
the traumatic experience isn't stored as a coherent story. It leads to memory distortion, or what the podcast calls time freezes moments feeling stuck, like they're still happening.
that makes so much sense for flashbacks and things.
It does. Lynx also explains dissociation, detaching from overwhelming experiences, but crucially, frames it not as a flaw, but as a protective adaptation, a way the mind copes to survive.
So a survival mechanism, not a defect.
Exactly. And Lynx's insights are grounded in cognitive science, behavior systems, providing that essential scientific counterpoint to Aura's view, explaining how the brain itself responds.
And what's so powerful, listening to you describe it, is how they don't clash, they complement.
Totally. Together, they offer this layered understanding. You get the emotional, spiritual impact from Aura and the biological changes from Lynx. It feels holistic,
Yeah,
empathetic, but also scientifically solid.
it really does create that full picture. Okay, so if we understand how the self fractures, what then? How do we move towards wholeness?
Right, that's the crucial next step. And the episode transitions smoothly into a segment called Reclaiming the Exiled Self.
Reclaiming, okay, so practical steps.
Yes, very much so. They discussed internal family systems, or IFS.
IFS, right, I've heard a bit about that. It's about different parts of ourselves.
Exactly. IFS views the mind as having various parts, like an inner child, a protector, a critic, each with its own feelings and beliefs. Mindset Matrix highlights IFS as a way to meet these parts with compassion.
Instead of fighting them.
Precisely. Understanding that even difficult parts are often trying to protect you, maybe in outdated ways. It's about internal harmony, not eliminating parts.
That's a gentler approach. What else?
They also cover somatic healing. This emphasizes feeling before fixing,
Feeling before fixing,
meaning acknowledging that trauma lives in the body, in the nervous system, not just the mind. Healing involves gently processing those physical sensations, letting the body release the stored stress.
working with the body's memory of it.
You got it. Releasing the physiological leftovers. And woven through all this is the journey from shame to worthiness, recognizing that shame often keeps us stuck.
And disconnected from those fragmented parts.
Exactly. And worthiness is presented as the bridge back to reunion with them.
That makes a lot of sense. How does the episode wrap this up?
There's a concluding segment. Dialogue wholeness is fragment aware. It really brings it all home, reinforcing that core message. You're not broken, you're protecting.
Ah, that shift from blame to compassion again.
Right. And what's really key here is the idea that wholeness isn't perfection, but reunion.
Okay, unpack that a little.
It means wholeness isn't about achieving some flawless, perfect state. It's about integrating all the parts, even the exiled ones, the ones we're ashamed of.
Accepting the whole messy picture.
Exactly. It reframes the self not as something to constantly show off or perfect for others, the spotlight idea, but as a sanctuary.
A safe internal space.
A safe space for all aspects of your being. It's a powerful call to turn inward and cultivate that self-acceptance.
And you mentioned Mindset Matrix is good at listener engagement.
Oh, definitely. They don't just lecture. They provide this incredibly powerful reflection prompt. What version of me had to disappear in order for me to survive?
Wow. That's a deep one.
It really is. And they encourage listeners to actually do something with it, use voice memos, journaling, to explore those silenced truths, those unintegrated parts.
Making it active, not passive listening.
Absolutely. It turns listening into a real journey of self-discovery. Plus, they recommend further resources, like Bessel van der Kolk's The Body Keeps the Score,
A classic on trauma and the body.
and Richard Schwartz's No Bad Parts, which is
Ah.
the key text for IFS. So they give you practical next steps if you want to go deeper.
That's great. And you said this episode, fractured selves, fits into a larger series.
Right, the Identity series. It's strategically placed. It comes after Episode 1, The World Within, about emotional architecture,
Okay.
and Episode 2, The Mask in the Mirror, about roles and personas.
So it builds logically.
Exactly. By tackling fragmentation in Episode 3, it acts like a necessary repair workshop. You need to address the damage before you can really understand personal evolution, which comes in Episode 4, The Ship of Theseus.
The classic paradox.
Right, and then Episode 5 looks at culture and ancestry, sacred inheritance, leading to the final integration in Episode 6, Becoming Whole.
So it's a very deliberate progression.
Very much so, as the podcast itself puts it, really eloquently, I think. Before one can fully understand the road ahead or even redesign their vehicle identity, they must first address the damage, gather the scattered pieces, and mend the foundational structure.
Yeah, we're broken along the way. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. You have to mend the foundation first.
It highlights that dealing with fragmentation isn't optional for growth. It's essential.
It really offers a profound shift, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for anyone feeling incomplete. It says your journey isn't about throwing parts away.
But about lovingly bringing all the pieces together.
That's a fantastic takeaway. So today, we've really dug into the unique structure of the Mindset Matrix podcast. We've explored its AI hosts, Aura and Lynx, and how their different perspectives create this rich understanding.
And we focus on that pivotal fractured selves episode, looking at fragmentation and the powerful idea of healing as retrieval.
Seeing how they blend philosophical depth with scientific grounding, it's quite something.
Hopefully this deep dive gets you thinking about the multifaceted nature of your own identity. Maybe reflecting on parts of yourself that have gone quiet.
Yeah, and maybe prompts that final thought we like to leave listeners with. In what ways might retrieving a lost or exiled part of yourself actually be the most radical and maybe the most compassionate act of self-care you can undertake right now?
Something to definitely sit with.
Indeed. Keep digging, keep learning, keep asking those big questions. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.